Hi everyone, and in this video I will tell you about 5 myths about the Soviet Union misleadingly known in the West. The Soviet Union did not have popular support. In fact, this is not the case, at least for most republics. On March 17, 1991, a referendum for the preservation of the country was held in the Soviet Union, in which 77% of people voted for the preservation of the Union. The Soviet Union attacked Finland in 1939 in order to seize it, thereby regaining the territory that was lost during the Revolution of 1917. In fact, the Soviet Union did not want to annex the whole of Finland. The problem was that Leningrad was a distance of 40 kilometers from the Soviet-Finnish border. Given the sympathy of the Finns for the Nazis at the time, the Soviet leadership began to fear the invasion of the Germans through Finland. In order to secure Leningrad, it was decided to move the border. Russians hate Stalin. This myth is known to the West. However, it's obvious to Russians that many still consider Stalin a great leader, and this is also confirmed by many opinion polls, according to which Stalin entered the top 5 greatest Russians of all time. But this statistic is controversial. The exorbitant defense spending of the Soviet Union during the arms race led Kiev to collapse. This myth arose after the scandalous statements of Gorbachev and the Army General Lobov, who stated that the military expenditures of the USSR amount to one-third or even more of GDP, which would correspond to the amount of 260 billion rubles. However, these words were unfounded, because according to the estimates of other departments, the results were much less. For example, the Central Intelligence Agency claimed that about 12 to 13% went to the defense of the USSR in 1974 and 15 to 17% in 1988. Also, official data indicated that 5 to 7% was spent on defense. It's worth recalling that the United States still spends about 16% of GDP on the army. The impossibility of free movement for Soviet citizens, especially rural residents. Also, this myth is popular in the West, who equate Soviet collective farms with actually serfdom. In the 1920s and 30s, the country was going through a historical transition from an agrarian to an industrial society. This inevitably led to the transition of a significant number of the population from rural areas to the city. In an effort to register and regulate this process, the authorities introduced the institution of local registration and a passport system. This system operated in cities and working class towns, but did not cover the countryside. Passports in rural areas were introduced only in the 70s. However, this system of population registration did not exclude the migration of people from villages to cities. This myth is easily refuted by statistics. For example, in 1940, compared with 1926, the urban population doubled and amounted to 33% of the total population. By the early 1960s, the urban and rural populations were equal in number, and in 1979 reached 62%. So the Soviet Union became a highly urbanized country.